All right. What is up, everybody? Welcome to a Monday Night Football double header live stream, joined by myself, Matt, who, assuming people know, my good friend, Dan, who I've never met in person, and my average friend, Thomas, who I'm getting to know better. What do you go by? Tommy, Thomas, Tom, TV?
Normally on air, I go by Thomas, but Tom is also fun.
On air. It's very
I haven't, yeah. My on air is usually Thomas, and then in person, it's Tom.
Okay, because I think Dan called you Tommy the first time when we did. Yeah, so just
you want me to?
whatever.
I can stop. I can stop if you don't want me to.
No one's calling me stupid. I'll take that.
Okay. Well, I just want to say this is a beautiful thing because I have a front row seat as the connector of the two of you to watch this friendship blossom, and it's a really special thing for me. So I'm really excited to be here.
You feel like Michael Scott introducing Jim and Pam? Is that kind of what you're feeling right now?
Yeah. Well, if you two get married, then I'm really expecting the invitation.
I have a fiance that might be a little upset about that, but you never know.
Bring her in. Let's ask her for her opinion.
It's true. Before we get started, Dan, I have to give you some flowers. My mom thought you were very professional. She tunes into the live streams. She very much enjoyed the way you present yourself. So major props to you.
Oh. Boy, I got her fooled.
Yeah, you're telling me. Well, I said it on the live stream yesterday, which was a ton of fun that we had during the witching hour of NFL, 1 p.m. Eastern time slate. We loved the Mrs. Modi input. We loved it at the time, and I love it even more.
Yeah, well, yeah. So she thought you were very professional. I told her used to do TV that it's all fake, that you're actually a horrible person off camera, but it doesn't matter.
You've never met me. How was she to know?
That's true. That's true. All right. So 2 games tonight. Figure we can get right into it. They're both kind of gross, lower than 40 totals, which isn't great. But hey, every game that had a total yesterday that was below 40, pretty sure went over. Not that means anything for today, but just something to keep in mind. So Saints, Panthers, based on the interactions on Twitter, it kind of sounded like that we're all on the Saints. But Dan, we'll start with you. What do you think? Just talking main lines right now for this one.
Yeah, Saints 3.5 is what you can get at Sporttrade. Obviously, I work there, but you can get it at 3 basically anywhere else. We're at last check the only book hanging 3.5, but we do have it at plus money, plus 111. So when I use the line comparison tool unabated, shout out Tom or Thomas, whichever you prefer this afternoon, that line is actually better than -3 at -115 or -3 at 120 that you're seeing everywhere else. And this is not just a numbers thing for me, although that's important to me. I'm a price sensitive better myself, but I also just think the Panthers suck, especially now that JC Horn is gone for the foreseeable future. I'm all over the 3.5. I don't think they have much to speak of offensively from a skill position standpoint, and they just lost one of the best 5 cover corners in the league. Probably they got Brian Burns back last week. He was obviously a big factor, but I just look at this Derek Carr led offense, and I think that they perhaps underwhelmed a bit last week against Tennessee, a really physical side that they still won the football game. So I expect them to be able to score some points tonight. So give me the Saints -3.5 against what I think is the most talent deficient offense in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't hate that take. Tommy, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the talent deficient is really how I describe the Panthers. I like some of the guys that they have, but overall, not great.
If you watched Miles Sanders for 4 years, you would understand.
That's fair.
Go for it.
I'm in the same boat. Like, if I'm going to take a side on this game, I'm going to take the I'm going to take the Saints -3. Circa's got it at -120. A couple other places have 120, and of course, Sporttrade 3.5 plus 117. If you want to jump on that plus money there and eat that half point, but I don't have anything in this yet. I have more stuff in the Browns Steelers game. A little bit of a tease for that. Do I really want to lay points with 2 road favorites this week? I don't know.
It's a fair point. At least the Panthers, I agree with you. They don't have a ton of talent on offense. I do feel like with Adam Thielen and Hayden Hurst, they got a really good retirement wide receiver tight end combo going on. When they have when they retire, immediately go to a retirement community because they're both ancient. I do like Bryce Young. I felt like he was worthy of going number 1. I just feel like there's nothing around him. So I'm kind of with you. I got it, I think, at plus 115. The 3.5, and it's a key number, obviously getting it above the field goal number, but I'm with you. I kind of like the 4 or more, basically. I think that's worth it for the plus money. In terms
I
of
just think like I obviously don't like betting over 3, right? If 3 is available. I'm just very confident that the Saints are much better than the Panthers, even on the road. I just don't think the Panthers have a ton to offer.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Yeah, and I mean, like, it's all about like the risk reward. You get the extra half point, but you get significantly better odds. So it depends on, do you want the safety of the 3 or do you want the better odds of the 3.5? I opted with the 3.5. Anything on the total, not for me. I'm not touching it.
Yeah, I have no desire to play the total in this game. I trust the Saints offense to put up points. I don't know that I trust the Panthers offense to do the same, even though the Saints defense is a little bit banged up, I believe. Like,
yeah, I think that's right. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. Dan, you didn't seem like
not
you had
enough to make me
anything.
want to put something down on this game. If I end up taking anything, I'll take the Saints and pass.
Yeah, 39.5 total here. I think it's low. An assumed score of 21.25 to 18.25. My question there is, can Carolina get that much? And if not, can New Orleans make up the slack? Weather looks good tonight, but again, I'm echoing what you guys are echoing. It makes for a boring TV show, but it's just the truth when you're dealing with money. I'm also not touching it. It's too low. It's like right in the danger zone. I just don't know, so I'm passing.
Yeah. I think we're all in alignment there. In terms of player props, I admittedly don't have a ton for this game either. My touchdown pick, my tater pick was Jamal Williams. I just don't think the Saints have anybody else. Like Kendre Miller's probably going to be out. Alvin Kamara is still serving the suspension. I'm not necessarily saying that the Saints offensive line is the same thing that he had in Detroit last year, but we saw that he's a really good goal line running back. And I think the Saints know that they're going to be able to have a ton of success running the ball. And that's really the only thing that I trust. I love Olave. I think Juwan Johnson's not a bad play, but I don't really trust either of them. I just think that it's a game that the Falcons had a ton of success running. I think the Saints are also going to have a ton of success running against the Panthers.
Tom, do you have any props on this one?
Nothing yet. I'm
Okay.
gonna try and find myself some projections to scrape into the unabated simulator in the coming hours here as we head up to kickoff. Unfortunately, nothing for me too much yet that I'm really looking at or getting excited about for this one as far as props go.
All right, boys, clear the runway because I'm coming in for a landing.
All right,
Here you go.
I was able to get some scraping in earlier this afternoon at the Sporttrade offices. Now I'm clearly in my home.
Clearly.
Here's what I love tonight. And this is part of a 2-part guarantee for me. I don't do this. I'm not a tout. I don't give out picks typically. But I've never been more confident about anything in my entire life.
Okay.
And that is Rashid Shaheed over 37.5 receiving yards this evening. So about 7 games ago, Rashid started receiving a larger share of the snaps down in New Orleans. He's gone over this number in 6 of those 7 games, including 53 yards, 73, 95, 41, 79, and he had 5 catches for 89 yards last week. Again, as you mentioned, Matt, no Kamara, more injuries in the backfield. Now, is he third banana to Olave, to Michael Thomas? Potentially, but he is their field stretcher. So he could potentially get this in just 1 reception. BetMGM has the best number on this by far. They have it at 37.5 at -110. Everyone else is like -125, -118. And you can actually, this number is a little bit all over the place. Some books have this over 40. So you're getting 37.5 at -110 for Shaheed, a guy who, again, he's their burner. And without JC Horn, there's going to be some mismatching going on in that secondary. I would have expected Horn to travel with Olave. And now you're going to probably see a mixture of zone. And what's the best way to beat zone is to run somebody straight up the seam, which is what they do with Shaheed a lot. So I like 37.5.
The Dagger Dan guarantee. And this was, you can't hide. It's confirmed on Twitter. You're sending someone a headshot if one of these 2 don't hit. Is that right?
Signed. Now, I don't have any headshots, but I will have to commission one and then I will
sign it.
Yeah.
That's a retail value of less than the envelope to send it.
I mean, over under $37.5. Let's just keep it consistent.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think you're on the under, Tom.
I'll take I've got a forever stamp here for like $1.95. I think that's pushing it.
I mean, yesterday, my host gave out cards, Josh Allen, Michael Jordan card. Dan's giving out headshots. Who's to say which one's more valuable?
Who wants a Josh Allen card? Guy sucks. Come on.
I mean, you don't have to sell me on that. All right, that's enough of Saints Panthers. No, what?
Real quick, I was just gonna say. I mean, I have some cards too. I'm actually in the middle right after the show. I got to go fill out and mail my mom's birthday card for this year.
Whoa.
Here's to
Okay. A
100
little
years.
dig to mom. A lot of mom talk on the show.
Yeah. Wow.
Much
Yeah.
like
Maybe
Zach
she's
Wilson.
maybe she's tuning in. Maybe she'll have to send me a text if she's tuning in. I'll love the Zach Wilson.
He's gonna have a lot of time to cruise for Cougars at the bar pretty soon if he plays like he did yesterday.
Yeah, because they're going to be trading for Zach or Kirk Cousins in a couple of days.
Am I crazy to think that wasn't the worst Zach Wilson game? Like 2 of those interceptions were when the game was getting out of hand and they were just throwing to throw anyway.
Yeah.
For 3 quarters, I didn't hate what he was doing. The bigger problem to me right now is the left tackle's revolving door.
But both tackles are bad.
Yeah.
But both tackles are terrible. But I mean,
how are you supposed to play quarterback when you can't run an offense? You can't develop anything with that. They need to fix the offensive line. Why trade for another quarterback to get killed back there? If you don't fix the O-line, you're better off having Wilson just take the beating and hope that you can invest for next year.
This is a little bit of a lipstick on a pig situation, I think, because I've never seen a quarterback excel more at rolling out to his right, running out of bounds, and then throwing across his body to a linebacker more than I've seen Zach Wilson do that in the last 3 years. It's impressive how he refuses to learn any sort of lesson at all, because he repeated it. He did it in week 1.
Yeah.
And he did it again last week. So I agree. A lot of that tomfoolery happened when the game was basically over. I mean, it takes away to happen, right? Garrett Wilson, or a touchdown plant.
Matt, this is him, not me, right?
Yeah, we're losing you a little. We're losing you a little bit, Dan. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'll stop talking. He's bad. He's bad. Good.
Yeah.
He's bad. He's bad, and I think everything above is true. I think he's bad. I think their offensive line sucks. I think they would have a better chance with better quarterback. But that's enough Zach Wilson talk for today. Moving on, game number 2. Seems like, Tom, you have a lot more on this one. Browns versus Steelers. I personally don't have a play on the spread on this one. It's too reactionary for me to buy the Browns. They smoked the Bengals last week. The Steelers got smoked. It's too chalky. It's too square for me personally. Like, I'm not saying that anyone that takes the Browns is square. I just personally try to avoid these spots where it's like all the stars are aligning. That makes one team look obvious. I've seen enough from the Browns to know that they shouldn't be trusted. And I've seen enough from the Steelers to know that Mike Tomlin figures it out. Generally, that's later in the year, not in week 2. So I don't have a play on the spread. Tom, we'll start with you. You seem like you had more on this game, so go for it.
Yeah, square me up here. I took some 1.5 earlier in the week, so I got some CLV. And then I proceeded to forget that I had taken that 1.5 earlier in the week, and I took some 2 today. So now I'm overly exposed on the Browns. Don't love that. Loved my initial bet. Don't love my second bet, but that's why I shouldn't have bet it again. But it just seems obvious. And sometimes I feel like obvious is the way to go, but I don't trust this Steelers team. I feel like the preseason was entirely a mirage. Like, the Lions went undefeated in the preseason the same year that they went 0-16.
It's my favorite stat. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Yeah, it's a good one.
Like, I don't trust this team right now. Now you don't have Deontay Johnson either. Things are starting to go bad already this season. They do have a good defense, but I'm starting to like what Deshaun Watson is putting together. Like, I didn't love him at all last year. And my theory, honestly, was that he wasn't overall the best quarterback. Like, he wasn't as good as everybody thought he was going into Cleveland. I'm liking what they're putting together, though. You got a little bit of talent on the outside. I'm a little worried about the Amari Cooper injury. I don't think he's going to be a big factor tonight. But guess what? You have Nick Chubb. You've got enough offensive pieces here to make something happen. And this Browns defense is still pretty dang legit. I think that's more of the problem. You look at the total, and it's indicative of the same thing. This is probably going to be a low-scoring game here. I'm comfortable saying the Browns managed to pull it out because they've also, we're getting into the trends. We're getting into a square way to look at this bet, but they have had the Steelers' number as of late.
That's true. So you like what you see from Deshaun Watson. So you liked the 154 passing yards, 55% completion percentage, 1 touchdown to 1 interception ratio last week. That was you enjoyed that?
It was better than what we've seen from him.
That's
all
true.
I'm saying.
That's true.
You're talking to somebody who watches Zach Wilson every week. So
yeah, you have to remember my quarterback play here is very, very jaded to the negative.
It's a low bar.
But you still got Nick Chubb. You still got a good offensive line. You still got plenty going there. trap game. How can this be a trap game? This is your divisional opponent that you hate to the bitter end.
Is that your mom?
I know it's not. I just
Oh.
love the mom who bets joining in on the chat for mom talk. I think is great. No, unless she made a YouTube account, unless she learned how to make a YouTube account without asking me, which I don't think she's capable of doing. I don't think that is her.
Did you just stumble upon a new parent corner on Bill Simmons? Now you've got mom talk.
Mom, I mean, we might have to. We might have something here.
Could be a gray area. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, and I'm mostly just messing with you, Tom. I mean, that game was wacky last week with the weather and stuff. I thought like a lot of passes that looked bad, you could tell like very visibly slipped out of his hand. Probably the command was fine, and really it comes down to Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
So Dan, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was more surprised that the Bengals came out looking as bad as they did this week than I was at the Browns' performance last week, because I chalk that up a lot to the weather, and I think that we're going to see better performance out of both those offenses. But then again, the Bengals still sucked, so that's a cause for concern from that. But I'm comfortable buying in on the Browns here, which is very scary and is definitely not in any way going to come back to bite me.
No, that never would. Dan, what do you got? Mom
Dan
who bets.
Here
we go. Steelers. Did we lose Dan again?
Yep.
I got right here.
You're frozen and sound like a robot.
Okay, good. So just about now.
Still. Yeah. We got you now.
All right, great. All right, well, I'll make this quick because my internet apparently sucks. I'm also not really on a side here, considering Tom got -1.5. I mean, if you put a gun to my head and said, "Hey, pick a side," I would say Cleveland -2. I think they have a top 5 roster, and this is kind of like the overreaction bowl, like you mentioned earlier. Cleveland looked really good against the Bengals team that had like basically no reps, but their ones and their quarterback, and then of course like the Niners are a buzzsaw. So I'm not sure what I'm really taking away from the Steelers game last week. Over 38.5 here, assumed score of 20.25 to 18.25. Similar setup to last game, and I said I wasn't going to touch it. I actually like the over here. I think it's a little low. Like, I know Amari Cooper apparently going to give it a go tonight. He's got a groin injury. I still think that offense is pretty good. Very good interior of that offensive line. Obviously, Nick Chubb. Obviously, I'm really high on Elijah Moore. I think Elijah Moore is actually a super talented wide receiver who just kind of got the short end of the stick in New Jersey. Still accurate. Again, I think this is an overreaction. Deontay Johnson going on the IR. I think you see a lot more Jaylen Warren in this game, and I think it's a big spot for the George Pickens hive, because if not now, when? This is his moment. I like this one. So I think the biggest question for Cleveland is, can they protect the outside rush and keep Deshaun Watson upright? We'll get into that a little bit later in props. But I actually do kind of like the over here.
I'm with you. It's so gross that I feel like I have to take the over. That's kind of how I feel.
It's gotten very low. So yeah. Tom, like when I used to do a lot of shows with Captain Jack last football season, when I knew absolutely nothing, and he basically held my hand for 18 weeks, he would like to say, once you get down to like 37 and a half, 38, like that should be a blaring siren that you just stay away from this completely. So what I may end up doing is watching the first 2 drives and kind of seeing where this thing goes and then hopping in play.
I did some of that with the Giants this week.
There you go.
There you go. Nice. If you cut their money line live, that was like, I think it got like plus 600 or what was it? Would you get it?
I waited a little extra. I got it at like 3-1, but it was right before they scored the 3rd touchdown.
Yeah.
And just, you could see what was about to happen. The Cardinals were cardling, and
they got the call in from up top. They said, "Hey, great game so far, but we can't have this happen." The up 10 promo. I don't honestly play this on DraftKings, mostly because they limit the shit out of me. I don't love the
What's
my
that?
Play. Yeah, have you heard that word, Dan?
It is. I'm not sure what limiting is.
I don't love like taking the favorite in these promos, because obviously just the weight, like the money you can make is limited. Not to use that word again. But I just can't get on the Steelers. Like if the Steelers win, they're not going to win by 10 or be up by 10 at any point. They're going to win like 13-10 or something. So I'd probably go with the Browns for the up by 10 promo.
Doesn't the math say that you should take the favorites?
You might be right. Honestly, I haven't looked into it.
I feel like I heard that somewhere. Don't take that as gospel. But
okay, well, I'm writing that down.
If you're betting on a team with the knowledge that if they're up by double digits at any point, don't you want to take it? Doesn't the math say the favorite is going to be the team that's more likely to do that? I'll have to ask Captain Jack about this one.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you're right. The more likely, yes, but I think it also is like with that logic, shouldn't you just bet on the favorite every time because they're more likely to win? You know what I mean? It all depends on the odds.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. For the first one, I definitely would get like more confident on the Saints if it applies to both. But I don't know a ton about that promo. I don't play it personally. In terms of props, I went square and chalk with this one. Give me Nick Chubb anytime touchdown. I was shocked they offered it for plus money. I got it for
What?
plus 110. I don't
Wow.
understand. Like it's just because he didn't score last week. They're going to run the ball a zillion times. They're going to have success doing so because as good as the Steelers defense is, like against the ground, they've been a little bit weaker recently. Not that, Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers roll everybody, but the Browns running attack is kind of on that same level. So yeah, I mean, I kind of like him to score twice. I think that's at like plus 400 last I checked. I haven't checked in a little bit. So that's my favorite touchdown one. What do you guys got for props?
Do you want to go, Tom? Do you want me to go?
Yeah, it's same boat. I got nothing. My only thing is I feel like on principle, I can't put down plus 110 on any player in the NFL to score a touchdown in a game.
Yeah.
Just on principle. But like,
That's
I get
pretty
it.
good.
It makes sense. Like, yeah, you feel like he's gonna have a great chance to score in this game. But yeah, I got nothing as far as the prop market goes because like I said, I'm loading up my projections after this, not before. That's my bad.
No, all good. Dan, before you go, real quick. So like, what would you say is your cutoff point for a touchdown? If you don't like the plus 110, do you have a number?
Well, I think let's convert that into a probability, right? Plus 110 is what, like 47%? No, it's like 49%. So you're saying you're telling me coming to a game that a guy has a 49% probability of scoring a touchdown? That seems super high, right? So I mean, Tom, I don't know about you. I mean, plus 200, I want to say is like 38%. So
yeah, I need
that
to pull it
seems like maybe the low bar. I have it in my Google Drive somewhere because we use probabilities at Sporttrade. But that to me, walking into a game saying guys basically 50-50 to score a touchdown to me is like way too high.
Yeah, I normally, when I'm looking at touchdown props, I go the opposite way. I'm looking at for some of the long shots that are maybe a little mispriced and like they have a 10% chance. I'm pulling numbers that I'm making up here, but like they have a 10% chance and they're priced like a 5%. Like that's how I approach touchdown props, but I don't bet a ton on the high variance markets like that. Like you are way braver than me going out with the Dong report every day.
Well, the reason why I love the Dong report so much is you get one to hit and you're making money. Like that's why I mean, there's a lot of reasons. That's number one. From a betting perspective, you hit one and you're making money. Like my win percentage, I haven't calculated it, but it's not high. Obviously, it's not high. And
yeah, but because your break even percentage isn't high.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, one day you go 0 for 3 and the next day you hit 1 and you're probably making that money back. Like you go 1 for 6 and you're close to breaking even. And that's what I've tried to convert that into anytime touchdowns. And now we're just getting into my issues, but I haven't been able to find the same 1-to-1 because there are players that are more likely to score. Then obviously you're never going to get plus 300 on like I don't know. I can't really think of the equivalent, which is what I'm struggling with the home run props. That's for a different conversation. That's why I asked you, because I was just curious, like what your strategy is for touchdowns, which I guess is kind of your strategy is you just sit it out.
So, well, yeah, but here's the thing, like, and again, I am very much just hypothesizing here, but sure. I feel like the answer that you need to look for, because when you're looking at home run props, you can reasonably expect the guy's going to get what 3-4 at bats a game. It's going to be in that area.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to, it's not like basketball or football where you have to worry about playing time. And yeah, basketball, it's all about minutes, but with football, I think that the answer to that you're seeking here has to be in snap counts and usage rates.
Yeah. So that's what I do. I do snap counts, usage rate, and then I do red zone, with like 10, 15, or 20, 10, and 5 yard line, mostly carries for running backs and then targets, obviously for wide receivers. But yeah, anyways, I've been struggling with the anytime touchdowns. I haven't quite had the same success as the Dong report. It's early in the season. We'll work on it. Dan, you've been chomping at the bit. What is your Dagger Dan guarantee will send a signed headshot if it does not hit?
No, I just to wrap this up, I think I would really lean into like low red zone opportunities more than anything else for a running back. I mean, how many touchdown carries of 20+ yards exist. Like it's got to be
Not
5%.
Yeah.
Right. So like I would have to heavily weigh low red zone targets and or touches. So yeah, go ahead, Tom.
It's why Jalen Hurts props are so magical.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know that if you get it to the
Right.
one, you know exactly who's getting the touchdown.
And they were slow to adjust to that last year. The tush push, they really were slow to adjust. A lot of people made a lot of money on that last year.
Same thing with Jamal Williams. He got
Yeah.
all the inside the 5 carries and he scored 18 touchdowns.
That is nuts.
Yeah. All right. So we'll hop in my prop for tonight. Jack Conklin, right tackle for the Browns, out for the year, and he's been replaced tonight by 4th round pick DeJuan Jones. So you're
Ohio
probably
State.
thinking,
Yep.
You're probably thinking, hey, big TJ Watt spot tonight. But no, gentlemen. Watt is -166 to go over a quarter of a sack. I think
So
that's
half a sack or more.
Too much juice. Too much juice for me. But what if I told you the Browns would be protecting Jones and not protecting their left tackle, Jadrick Williams or Willis? I don't even know his name. It's how bad he sucks. Is that something you might be interested in? Because it's something I'm interested in. Because the guy who primarily rushes from that side is Alex Highsmith, who had 14.5 sacks last year and is +150 tonight to record a full sack in 2 games last year. In 2 games last year, in this matchup, Highsmith had 4 sacks, all coming against Willis. I love this prop. Highsmith is a baller. He just got paid. I anticipate he's going to see a lot of one-on-one because they're going to protect that right side of the offensive line. Give me Alex Highsmith. 1 full sack tonight, +150.
Where are you finding sack props?
I do the research.
No, so like what books? Sorry.
Oh, well, I used Unabated to go and sort them. So the only place I actually found this sack prop was at DraftKings, which is where I bet it at +150.
Got it. Okay. That's what I was wondering. Yeah. Where you bet. We got sack props. We got the Dong report. I love what we're doing here. I love
there's some connective tissue there.
There is.
You dig deep enough.
Bundle of tissue, if you will.
Wow. Okay. I didn't realize we were talking flesh bridges here, but that's okay.
I like it. Alex Highsmith is a stud. And I think DeJuan Jones might not be that bad. I liked him in the draft as 4th round rookie tackle is never great, but as a huge draft guy myself, I thought that he was going to go higher than that. Cool. All right. Anything else that you guys have for the games tonight? Any degen parlays, which I know are super square, but are always fun. Anything like that?
I might go full degen and just parlay both favorites together and just really suck. But
there you go.
I'm seeing Highsmith over 0.75 sacks, so you need more than half a sack at +160 at DraftKings right now. But
did they bump it up? Hold on, let me check my betting log here.
I would check it, but that's what I have on the unabated screen right now.
Yes, you're correct. That's what I got. Oh, sorry. So I said he needed a full sack, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this actually has moved up. I got it at +150 a couple hours ago. It is now indeed +160.
I will ride that with you, Dan. I like it.
Okay, there you go.
I will be very mad that I can't bet player props in Nevada.
Oh, yes.
You can't bet player props at all?
You can, but it's a desert out here in more ways than one. Finding them is absurdly annoying and stupid. It sucks.
I don't think I could bet that in Colorado on DraftKings.
Well, boys, it looks like we'll have to see how I do.
Yeah, it's like this dagger dance riding this one for us. Yeah, it is tough.
A Jersey special. If you're in Jersey, come hang out.
There you go. Sign up for Sporttrade if you're in Jersey.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. So for me, I just parlayed my 2 anytime touchdown picks. I also liked 2 touchdowns for Nick Chubb. It was +650. So I had the odds wrong there. I think that one's definitely worth it because, again, he's going to get all the carries when they get down into the goal line, and they're not probably going to pass a ton. So +650, I think, is not bad odds. But yeah, that wraps it up for Monday Night Football. Anything that you guys have your eye on for week 3, Tom? I know you do the Monday line movement, Monday market movers, whatever it's called. The biggest one that I saw was with the Rams, obviously on the Joe Burrow news. What I noticed in week 3, ton of heavy favorites. We got the Chiefs and Bears. We got the Cardinals and Cowboys, Bills, Commanders, Texans, Jags. Just a ton of huge favorites. Ravens, Colts, another one. I didn't
Giants,
have a ton.
Niners.
Yeah, Thursday Night Football. Right. Yeah, Thursday night. Yeah. So I didn't have a ton that struck out to me, but what do you guys got for week 3?
I mean, the market is just not moving on a lot of these numbers. I think that might be because of some of the really high spreads. It's just these are what the lines are so far this week compared to last week, where virtually every game had a couple of different movements by the time I was putting that tweet out. And some of these games, it was just, nope, this is still the opening number, and this is what it's stuck at right now. Godspeed to anyone who bets the Chargers-Vikings game. My advice on that one is wait till the fourth quarter, see who's up with 2 minutes to go, and bet the other team.
Bet the opposite.
Yeah. Just bet on the collapse.
Well, also, you've got 4 games that are impacted by teams that are playing tonight.
Yeah,
true.
That's
true.
Yeah. One of the things, I'll tell you a quick story about something I did today that you could put squarely into Squaresville. I woke up this morning and I was like, I just think Miami's a top 2 AFC team. Like, I just think they're solid enough defensively and obviously an absolute wagon on offense to conceivably think they're going to be there at the end of the season. So I went and saw they're hosting Denver, a team that I think is just garbage. And I saw 6.5 and nothing but 7s. So I said, okay, this is going to get steamed up to 7.5, maybe 8. We got a long time between now and Sunday. So I grabbed it at 6.5, paid a little extra, -115. I'm not proud of it. And then like 5 hours later, I looked and every single book was -6.5 at -110. So that sucks.
Yep.
So I paid an extra 5 cents there. So I read that market wrong. Titans +4.5 at Cleveland has already moved to Cleveland -3.5 at some of the rec books. So curious to see how tonight plays out. But I think if Cleveland wins, that may continue to move. And I'm a Titans backer repeatedly. So maybe even move in the direction that I kind of like.
2-0 against the spread.
Yeah.
Titans.
Falcons +4.5 at Detroit when it opened. That's now Falcons +3.5. So -3.5 for Detroit. Saints +1.5 at Green Bay. I think the Saints team's going to win their division. And I think Green Bay, Matt, I was all over Atlanta +2.5 early in the week last week. They ended up being -2.5. And then I was on the Falcons money line. I just think they're physically tough. I think Desmond Ritter's not great. But I think they're a really physically tough team and they're a hard team to play. And there is no home field advantage at Lambeau. Believe me, I lived there for 5 years. So I like an opportunity there. If the Saints come out and really impress, to maybe make that a pick 'em or something like that. Seahawks -4.5 against Carolina. I think that could shoot up. It's probably like right in a zone I don't want it to be. If that gets to 5 or 5.5, like that's not something I'm super excited about. And then you mentioned, the Rams and Cincy. Can you imagine a scenario where Joe Burrow's out? We see, I don't know, Achilles Smith, whoever the hell's the backup there. And the Rams, sure, sounds good. And then, the Rams come in there and they've been not only professional, they've been incredibly proficient. And you could see a scenario here where the Rams may be able to walk out of there with not only a cover, but an outright. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I woke up this morning and was looking at the lines. I saw the Rams at +160, and I hopped on that. The quickest you'll ever see me move is +160 on the Rams. Now they're down to like +120. I forget exactly where they are now. Even if Burrow plays, it's like, I don't know. Like, why are we giving the Bengals all this respect? It's kind of how I feel about the Eagles too. We're putting so much stock into last year, and the year-over-year swings in the NFL are crazy. Like, I don't think the Eagles should be 6.5, whatever it is, point favorites against the Buccaneers. The 2-0 Buccaneers in Tampa Bay, struggling Eagles passing offense. Now, so I guess 5 to 6, depending on where you look. Looks like you can get +6 at BetMGM. There's certain situations like that where the Bengals have a little bit more equity because they did it 2 years in a row, whereas the Eagles they could just be a 1-year wonder, and Hurts could be a 1-year wonder. We just don't know. And Todd Bowles gave him fits when they played 2 years ago, and he kind of looks more similar to 2 years ago than he did last year. Obviously, that's next Monday night, so we'll talk about that in a lot more detail in next stream for Monday night. But I really, really liked the Bucks, even straight up upset the Eagles. I think at like +245, I think has some pretty good value.
DVOA moving behind a paywall now has really been tough. That's been tough for me. I've been trying to deal with that and figure out a new metric that I trust and like more than DVOA, and haven't found it yet. So
I bit the
really
bullet,
affecting me.
Paid, and I will be expensing that on my end of year taxes.
Perfect. Yeah, I love the guys at FTN. We actually talked to them at Sporttrade about doing some stuff. But when you're only in 2 states, it doesn't become very cost effective to go on national brands. But love those guys and what they're doing over there.
FTN, that's really how I got back into football and back into everything. I kind of relaunched my career post-pandemic with them and Matt Friedman, who was there at the time. Love those guys to death. They do a lot of great things over there.
Oh, Friedman's at Fantasy Life now, right? With Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life. Nice.
Yep. You check out the Betting Life podcast that he does with Peter
Yeah.
Jennings.
Yeah. Listen to it last week.
Yep.
We got to start turning the screws on your guy. We're live. I'm not going to give away too much information. Got to start turning the screws on Pete. Get him to sign up for Sporttrade. He's out there. He's out there. He's in Denver. He's been on our live streams. We got to get him in the tent.
Dan, I think you got to make the trip out to Colorado.
Your lips to God's ears, man. I didn't. I didn't.
Yeah.
Would have loved to.
All right, gentlemen, I appreciate you joining. Any last thoughts for tonight, for week 3, for life in general? What do you got? Anything?
Do you want to recap our offerings here?
Yeah, that would have been what a good host would do. Tom, what do you got?
Pick a prop market.
Pick a prop market.
Yeah.
Tackles / assist. Is that a thing?
No,
pick a prop market that's completions, touchdowns, receiving yards, receptions, passing yards, or rushing attempts. Something I can sim.
Rushing yards.
I'm curious in Olave receiving yards. I think I saw between 66 and 70.
Receiving yards. Just kidding.
Yeah.
We'll do that one.
All right. Receiving yards it is. May or may not have run some projections through while we were having that last discussion there.
Sure.
There you go.
Let's see. Anything for receiving yards here? Looks like we might, once I can organize this stuff out here.
So you're running this directly on unabated?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't work there. It's an amazing site. If you don't have unabated, you should.
Mm-hmm.
I use it every day.
I don't have it. I'm going to be honest. I don't have it. My previous company still gives me a free subscription. So that's what I've been using.
That's true.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We'll talk off air. We'll see what we can do.
All right. There we go. I like it.
But,
look, I'm open. I'm open to be had.
Liking here receiving yards. Amari Cooper under 53.5.
Well, he's got a groin, so that sounds pretty tasty.
Yeah,
it does have a groin.
Yeah, the prop. I'm talking about the prop, Matt. Clean it up.
No, I know. I was agreeing.
Something that seems strange here is BetMGM. Someone open up BetMGM right now. Either something is going wrong with my screen, or BetMGM has him at 8.5 yards.
Wait, hold on. I'm pulling
I think the books took his market down. So if you guys, I remember learning this back in my OddsJam days. If you scrape their odds from their scraper, sometimes what they show on the back end isn't shown live on the actual sports book, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a problem all the time where people were complaining about odds, and it's like we're scraping it from their. I don't know the whole. They don't have Amari Cooper up.
Yeah, I don't see him.
I think all the books took it down. I think it's one of those things where the back end shows it, but the front end doesn't. I'm not a science guy, so I can't really speak to it that much, but I do remember that being an issue.
Well, Terrace Marshall, 11.5. The under is showing an edge at DraftKings.
Okay. Terrence Marshall, receiver for the Panthers. I mean, they just have nobody. That guy also stinks.
Exactly. The hope is nobody throws to him.
That does make sense.
Plus at 11.5, even if he gets like one reception for 5 yards, you're still going. I got robbed last week, robbed by Darius Slayton in garbage time of that 40-0 absolute trash heap massacre. I had him under 2.5 receptions. This guy goes out, catches his third with no time left in that garbage time final. Why were these receivers even in the game at this point? What was Brian Dable doing? You got Daniel Jones playing like to the 5-minute mark in a game they're down 40 and he's just getting obliterated. I don't know why were starters in this game at all. I'm sitting here poised to win a 6-man prize picks play if this guy comes through, and he didn't because of that garbage time reception.
Ouch.
Fuming.
The reason why is because they came back against the Cardinals. They could have feasibly done it against the Cowboys. You know what I mean? Like just
with 5 minutes left and down 40 points.
Yeah, never give up. Miracle at the Meadowlands.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Recap for tonight in the Saints Panthers. I am on the Saints -3.5 at Sporttrade. I'm also on Jamal Williams anytime touchdown. You guys, what are you on for this game? Dan, we'll start with you.
Yeah, sounds good. I am on Saints -3.5. I'm not touching the total. I'm also not touching the side for Cleveland Pittsburgh, but I do like the over 38.5. My two props, Rashid Shaheed over 37.5 receiving yards and a full sack tonight for Alex Highsmith.
Full sack. I love it. Tom, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be taking that Terrace Marshall under because I like those guys. I like betting on like the fifth receiver to not do anything.
Seems like a winning proposition.
Yeah. I think it's a great way to go. It's also, it burns you at the end of games sometimes because like that's when those guys just pick up a random catch. I like that. Laviska Shenault under is also pretty interesting here from the numbers that I'm seeing. Maybe not some. I'm not going to end up on that one probably, but could be worth a play. As far as what we're showing, it's got an 11% edge for us. The Chris Olave under has a 17% edge.
Wow.
Under what, 72? There's some massive swings with
Yeah.
Olave. Like FanDuel's got him at 72.5. Every other book's got him at 68.5.
Wow. Interesting. What are
Yeah.
the prices? That could be a middle.
Yeah.
That's true.
Bookmakers got under 70.5 at +104. The 68.5 for Caesars is -115 for the over.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's good to know.
Also, keep in mind with FanDuel, if their number's different than anybody else, be wary of that number because FanDuel
I don't touch
on props.
I don't touch outlier FanDuel. I've learned my lesson. I don't know if it's something they do with like DFS, if they just are quicker to move their player props, but they're super square on main lines. I don't touch in player props. If there's value, I'll just ignore it. Or I'll bet the opposite. I'll use them as the sharp book and I'll bet the opposite.
Yeah, might tell you that that the over 68.5 might be the move here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm down with that. I got a lot of nobody cares about fantasy. I got a lot of stock in Olave.
Nobody cares about your fantasy team.
I don't either. But
my team's 0-2. We're in shambles. It's terrible.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. I appreciate you for hopping on late notice as my normal Monday night partner could not make it. Let's all win our bets tonight. And just real quick, tell the people where they can find you, because I always forget to do that.
Sure. Sporttrade. Dan Koob, Director of Content at Sporttrade at Sporttrade Koob, Sporttrade_app on all of our socials. If you're in Colorado or New Jersey, sign up using code MODI or use code WINNING. Same offer.
There you go.
And you can find me on Twitter at TV at Work. You can also find me there on Instagram and TikTok. I'm actually putting out video content on those platforms now. We got football. It's easier to do. Doing some TikToking. But and as always, head to unabated.com. You can grab yourself a 5-day trial or get in on the action because this is where the value kicks in. We're here to offer you plenty of tools to help make you bet smarter.
Look, unsolicited, if you're in the chat, if you're Gavin or Khalil or Eric sitting in the chat right now, you have to get unabated. Like if you're serious about making money, just do it. Like come on.
Spend money to make money.
That's business 101.
It's very legit. Like this is the tools do help you win.
Yeah. And if you want to learn about a lot of pretty much any type of sports betting education thing, Captain Jack has his own YouTube channel. I watched a ton of his stuff when I was trying to figure out what I was doing with my life. So yeah, even though not a sponsor, can recommend.
And you can check out Unabated's YouTube channel as well, where he started doing a bunch of the same video stuff.
There you go. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining. Have a good one.
Take care.